Good morning, everyone. Right. Good morning. See, last class we have seen the basic introduction. Okay. So we understand direct tax. 1 second. Right. See, we understand direct tax. We understand indirect tax, and on that we have understand what GST. Okay. So direct tax we also understand indirect tax. Next we understand what GST. Okay. Next what we understand. Okay. Issue. Also we understand what GST or advantages. We also understand there is GST Council. We also understand GST network, and we understand some definition. Okay, we understand some definition. Next, we understand certain basic topics. Basic topics. That is nothing but the introduction. Okay, this is complete nothing but introduction. Okay, in your book. Now, today, okay, we're just going to understand various scenarios. First, நம்ம ஒரு brief-ஆ that is we'll understand briefly about your topics. So GST, okay. So உங்களோட topicsல என்னென்னலாம் இருக்குன்றது பார்த்துப்போம் first, so that you can have a clear view that you can go through your subject properly. So உங்களோட topics வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா first பேசிக்கா எப்படி ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிருக்காங்கன்னா உங்களோட chapter wise பாத்தீங்கன்னா okay, topic size உங்க topic எப்படி ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிக்கிறாங்கன்னா number 1 introduction, number 2 levy and collection, number 3 time, value and place of supply, number 4 input tax credit, number 5 registration, number 6 tax invoice, debit note, credit note and other documents, number 7 accounts and records, number 8 payment of tax, number 9 TDS, TCS under GST, number 10 returns, okay, number 11 matching concept, number 12 audit under GST, next e-way bill, last topic e-way bill. Okay, so this is the way they have been drafted in your book. Okay, custom we'll see later point of view. Now we're just talking about only GST. Okay, but in our stage we're just going to see first introduction, number 2 registration, number 3 tax invoice, number 4 accounts and records, number 5 okay payment of tax, okay, number 6 levy and collection, number 7 time, value and place of supply, number 8 ITC, number 9 okay, number 9 TDS, TCS and number 10 returns, okay, number 11 matching concepts, number 12 audit under GST, number 13 e-way bill. So in the order la நம்ம போக போறோம். Okay, so we're just going to see in this particular order only. So we are just going to see this way. அதுக்கான reason என்னன்றதும் will be analyzed, will be understand, so that you can have a proper catch, there is proper touch with the subject. Subject ஓட depthness உங்களுக்கு ஒண்ணா புரியும், so that we can easily cover every topics. Okay, right. Now, from our understanding, there is எதுக்காக இந்த flowல போறோம் பாத்தீங்கன்னா, already when in the introduction class we have been discussing that. Okay, only a registered person, only a registered person, he can collect tax on behalf of the government. He will pay GST. All indirect taxes, okay, they have to registered under respective, okay, respective law. For example, earlier when I am subject to excise, I have to register under excise law. When I am subject to service tax, I have to register under service tax. If I am subject to VAT, I have to register under VAT, each and every state. Okay, each and every state. Now, this has been considered in even in GST also. If you want to collect GST, okay, first of all, you have to register. Okay, you have to register. Unless otherwise, if you are not a registered person, you should not collect tax. You should not collect tax. Okay, so you should not collect tax. So if you are collecting tax in the sense, it is wrong. Okay, it is wrong. So the department can, there is put case against you, or whatever, they can take necessary step actions against you. Okay, so this is a basic scenarios. So that's the reason we need to understand the registration process earlier. I'm breaking this way. First we need to understand the registration. Next we'll be understanding what is tax invoice. Okay, next debit note or credit note, etc., etc. Next one will be understanding accounts and records. Next we'll be understanding what these other topics like payment of tax. Then we'll be moving to levy and collections. Okay, then we'll be understanding that time, value and place of supply. Next we will be understanding ITC. Okay, in that exemption also is the, okay, one more topic called as exemption here, levy and collection. Next we'll be understanding what this basic scenarios, okay, TDS and TCS. Next one with the returns. Okay, next one with the matching concept. Next on the audit. Next on the e-way bill. Rombo simple on topics. Okay, உங்க topic வந்து ரொம்ப ரொம்ப simple. Okay, you can score definitely 60 to 70 marks or 80 marks, whatever the case may be, if you are correct, proper, if you read properly, okay, understand the topic properly, have a clear cut in the topics, so you can get a good marks in indirect taxes. Definitely 100% you can get a good marks. Okay, so there is nothing in that, so you can definitely, you can score good marks over here. Okay, right. Now we're just going to understand this topic in a proper mode. Number one, okay, registration. We're just going to see the topic called as registration. Okay, so if you see, there is each in any topic, if you're going to that, first you have to understand the basic scenarios. Why such topic is there? Why we need to understand such topic? Okay, what is the reason behind such topic? Okay, if you understand the topic properly, then you can easily get into that and you can come out of that topic. Okay, you can understand properly and you can easily understand the subject properly. Okay, fine. Now if you see registration, okay, I already say that I am subject to registration, then only if I register, only a registered person can collect tax. Okay, only a registered person can issue tax invoice. Okay, only a registered person can transfer the tax. Okay, that is by transfer the ITC. Okay, so by availing such scenarios. Okay, so if I am not a registered person, I will not come into this picture. Okay, certain registered person, they cannot transfer ITC, that we'll see later point of view. Okay, now for collecting tax, or if I want to pay this, raise a taxable invoice, or if I want to Shadows. If I want to avoid that cascading effect, okay, I should be a registered person, right? So we're just going to understand this topic. Why registration? Okay, why registration? Number two. Okay, under this we're just going to see various topics. Okay, here section Patina 22 to section 30. We're just going to see under registration. Section 22 to section 30. We are just going to see under registration. Number one, section 22, which is talking about person liable for registration. Number two, section 23, person not liable for registration. Next, section 24, okay, compulsory registration. Okay, section 25, talking about procedure for, okay, registration. Section 26, okay, which is talking about what? Deemed registration. Section 27, talking about special provisions, okay, which relates to casual taxable person and which relates to non-resident taxable person. Okay, so this will read with section 24 that we'll see later. Okay, next section 28, which is talking about what? Amendment of registration. Section 29, which is going to talk about cancellation of registration. Section 30, which is going to talk about revocation of registration. Okay, so this is a topic, complete topic, which is going to see. Number one, person liable for registration, person not liable for registration, compulsory registration, next procedure for registration, next deemed registration, next special provision for casual taxable person and non-resident taxable person. Next, we're just going to see amendment of registration. Next, we're just going to see cancellation of registration. Next, we're just going to see revocation of registration. Okay, so this is the topic we're just going to see under registration. So we're just going to see one by one, one by one, one by one. Okay, so before going to the registration, what are the advantages? Already we have seen advantages. What are the registration advantages in the sense? Number one, you would be legally recognized. Okay, number one is legally recognized. Number two, okay, you're legally authorized to collect tax. Legally authorized to collect tax. Okay, if I am not a registered person, whether I can able to collect tax? No, I cannot collect tax. Only a legally authorized person can collect tax. Otherwise, he cannot collect tax. Number three, okay, you can eligible to take input tax credit. You can eligible to take what? Input tax credit, which you already purchased. That is, I made a purchase. Okay, I paid a tax. I going to sell. This tax can be availed as a ITC. This tax can be availed as a ITC. Unless otherwise, if I'm not a registered person, I cannot avail this ITC. Okay, accordingly. Next, number four, flow of input tax. Okay, flow of input tax. Okay, so here I take an input tax credit. Suppose this person is a registered person, he is also eligible to take ITC. If I am a unregistered person, I will not be eligible to take ITC. So here the flow will be move one person to another person. For example, I am a manufacturer. Okay, he is a registered person, then he can transfer the credit. Again, he just sold to the traders. Trader also registered person. He can eligible to take input tax credit. If he sold to a registered person, if he sold to unregistered person, this person can take eligible to take what? ITC, but this person is not eligible to take what? ITC. So a flow of ITC is there when you have been a registered person. Next, if you're only a registered person can apply to the government contract. Okay, no other person can apply to the government contract. If you are registered under GST, then only you can apply for the that is government contract. Otherwise, you cannot register under government contract. Next, if you check about this, okay, so it is a G, there is like, it is like facilitate, okay, to do business easily, to do business easily, okay. So only these are the advantages, okay, which is subject to what, registered persons, okay. If I am a registered person, I can enjoy these scenarios because I'm legally, it is legally recognized, I'm authorized to collect tax. Next shot, my ITC, there is, I can take that ITC, I can flow that ITC, okay. Then I can take government contract, I can do business easily, okay, so that it will be flexible, okay. So these are the scenarios which has been there in the registered person, okay. We'll come back one by one topics, okay. So here, next, now we are understanding that why registration is required, okay. So these are the scenarios registration is required. Number two, we're going to understand about, okay, like in the registration under GST, okay. For example, whether you can go for only a single registration or whether you can take what, multiple registration, whether you can take what, single registration, or you can take what, multiple registration. I have PAN, okay, I'm using a PAN, okay. In such PAN, whether I can go for multiple registration or I can go for a single registration, okay. So in this scenarios, okay, if I have a PAN, okay, for example, Ivamurthy, okay, is a proprietor, okay, is a proprietor, okay. So he will do, okay, he's a proprietor, okay, he have his own PAN number, okay. Suppose this Yomurthy is an individual. Next, if it talks about, okay, I have a firm, okay, I have a firm, then this firm is a different person, okay, he will also have a PAN number. If there is a company, okay, so this person has a different PAN number, okay. Next, if I am a LLP, I can have a different PAN number, okay. If I have a trust, I have a different PAN number. So here I have various scenarios. That is, for example, this and all, every person is that this, they are all called as what, persons. We are just going to talk about a person, okay. We're just going to talk about right. So we're just going to talk about a PAN, okay, a single PAN. Whether this person has a, whether you will be liable only for one registration or you can liable for multiple registration. You can take multiple registration, okay. Here you can take multiple registration. You can take what, multiple registration. Number one. So why multiple registration? In the sense, suppose if I have branch in Chennai, I have branch in Madurai, I have branch in Pune, I have branch in, okay, Bangalore, okay, I have branch in Pune, I have branch in Bangalore, okay, I have branch in Madurai, this is in Chennai, okay. State, this is Tamil Nadu, this is Tamil Nadu, this is Maharashtra, and this is Karnataka, okay. So here, okay, here on the screen share பண்றது திருப்ப Jack, okay. Right. So I have multiple, I have business, okay, I have in various location. One is in Chennai, one is in Madurai, one is in Pune, one is in Bangalore, okay. They have various status. So here, okay, GST, if I do business in different state, okay, different state, okay, I have to registered in each state. I have to registered in each state, okay. I have to registered in each state, okay. Even I have a same business, okay, if I am a same business, I have to register in each state, because this is Tamil Nadu, assume this is Andhra, this is Karnataka, this is Maharashtra, okay. Each and every person has different scenarios. We have seen that CGST, SGST, IGST, okay. CGST, SGST பொறுத்தவரைக்கும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா Andanda state oda SGST. Okay, for example, this is Tamil Nadu, this is Andhra Pradesh, this is West Bengal, this is Telangana, this is Maharashtra. Andanda state oda CGST, Andanda state oda IGST, SGST, another state oda what? IGST and SGST. So here, what I'm trying to explain is, so each and every state, okay, they will work only for their revenue. Okay, central government, they work for different scenarios, but each and every state they have different scenarios. They will say that they have different jurisdiction actually. Okay, if you want to do business in such places, I want to register in such state also. Okay, for example, if I'm doing business in Tamil Nadu, okay, the registration is subject to 33. Okay, if I'm just registered in Karnataka, assume that it is, I'm just putting some other state 29, some other states 26. It will start with 33, it will start with 29, it will start with 26, etc., etc. It will go in such a way. Okay, so you have to register in each and every state if you're doing business in each and every state. Okay, number two, so if I am doing business in each and every state, okay, each and every state, I have to register separately in each and every state. When we're just going to see later. Okay, when we're just going to see later. But whether we're going to register, yes, we have to register in each and every state. Okay, whether we have to register in the same state with multiple registration. For example, I'm doing business in Tamil Nadu. Earlier, from an earlier example, I have business in Chennai. I have business in Madurai. Both are in Tamil Nadu. So I have in Tamil Nadu. I have in Chennai. I have business in Madurai. Okay. So both are in Tamil Nadu. Okay. Suppose if I am doing same activities, then one registration is enough. Okay, I can register Chennai as my main address. Okay, Madurai as a additional place. Madurai is a additional place of business. Okay, clear? So if I want to do a business in Chennai, Madurai, Tirchi, Coimbatore, etc., every branch they have all these scenarios. Okay, I'm going to register. Okay, I'm doing a business called, I'm doing a trading business in the same activities. I have go down in Chennai, I have go down in Madurai, I have go down in Tirchi, I'm go down in Coimbatore. Okay, so all these scenarios. Okay, I'm just going to, I can sell from this place, this place, this place, this place, this place, various places. In such cases, okay, I will go to, I will register only one registration. Okay, one registration. Then using such registration, I can add. Okay, I can add additional place of business like Madurai. Okay, that is Madurai. Then Coimbatore, Tirchi. Okay, or what are the place which is in such state, which are there in such state. Okay, right. So this is number one. Number two. Okay, yesterday we have been talking about distant. Sorry, we are talking about what? Business vertical. We are talking about what? Business vertical. Okay, we are talking about what? Business vertical. What is business vertical, Patigana? I have multiple types of business. Multiple types of business. For example, I am selling egg. Okay, I am selling steel. I am doing hardware business. Okay, I am selling also fruit shop and vegetable shop. Okay. So I am doing various activities. I am having different activities in different places, different scenarios. Okay, I am having a single pan. Okay, Yomurthy is doing these businesses. Okay, and also doing audit and assurance services. Okay, because I am auditor, I am doing audit and assurance services. This is my family business, hence I am doing family business, etc., etc. Okay, so here I have to do a separate registration for this. I have to do a separate registration for this. Okay, I have to do a separate registration for this. Okay, to avoid. Okay, like cumbersome. Otherwise, you can do a single registration, but you should have a multiple breakup. Okay, you should have a proper breakup when the assessee officer questioning you. Okay, so you cannot mingle that other scenarios and all. You can mingle everything in a single point of view. So you should not do every scenarios. So if I have if I am subject to business vertical, okay, doing different businesses. If I'm doing different businesses, then I am liable for, okay, multiple registration even in a single state. Okay, whether multiple registration is possible in a single state? So there is, in certain cases, multiple registration is possible. Okay, if a person is subject to doing a business vertical, then he has to do a multiple registration. Number two. This is number one. Number two. Suppose I am a subject to input service distributor that we just going to see later. Now at present we don't know that what is input service distributor as of now for in your point of view. Okay. So here I am an input service distributor. For a year, it is nothing but the input service distributor will distribute his credit, okay, to his various branches who have the same PAN number. Okay, for example, Yomurthy, okay, I have a branch in Chennai, we sold Madurai, that is in Mumbai. Then he also having it Bangalore. Okay, so you have these branches in various places. Yomurthy has the same PAN. Okay, so he getting a common credit, he getting a common ITC. In such cases, this is a distributed credit. So I am just going to distribute in various location. In the sense, this is subject to input service distributor that we're just going to see later. Okay, we'll explain you in depth in later. Okay, but here from the understand point of view, business vertical already explained. This will explain you later. So here, if I am a subject to input service distributor, okay, then I can have multiple registration in a single state. Multiple registration in a single state. So here I can do this scenarios. Clear? Right? Fine. So this is a basic introduction about the registration. Okay. So we are talking about registration. Number one, registration. You have multiple registration. Okay. So there is each and every state you have. Each and every state you should have registered. Okay. If it is subject to the provision. Next, now we are using the word called as subject to the provision. We're just going to see what is the subject to the provisions. Number two. Okay, number two, which is also going to see, okay, in a single state, that is in a single state, okay, we can do a multiple registration. We can do a multiple registration. Yes, possible. In what scenarios? If you're doing a business vertical, if I am subject to input service distributor. In such cases, I can do a multiple registration. If I'm doing a business vertical, if I am subject to input service distributor, I can go for multiple registration. Okay, clear? This is number one. Okay, we understand. Right now, already we have discussed about sections. Sections is nothing but section 22 to 30. Okay, section 22 to section 30. So now here in after, we're just going to see one by one, one by one, one by one. Okay, we're just going to understand each and every scenarios. Okay, right? Number one, section 22. What is section 22? Section 22 is nothing but person liable for registration. Okay, who are the person who is liable for registration? Any person, okay, in these three scenarios is liable for registration. Number one, a person whose turnover, okay, exceed such threshold limit. Whose exceed what? Such threshold limit. Number one. Number two, a person already registered under old law. That means what? Existing law. We'll just put a word called as existing law. Excise duty, service tax, VAT. Now he has to register. Okay, he is liable for register. Okay, he is liable for register. Number three, when the business has been transferred. When the business has been transferred, in the three situation, he has to do accordingly. Okay, so 1 second. Right. So this is subject to section 22. Okay, one is subject to turnover. Number two, subject to restricted. That is registered under, already registered under old law and existing law, and he just transfer the business. Okay, we'll just going to understand one by one. Turnover. What do you mean by turnover? Okay, already we explained last classes. That is the reason I am saying that you have to understand Main thing about the turnover. Turnover means, okay, turnover means what? Number one, you have to, this turnover means what? Taxable supply. Number two, exempt supply. Number three, okay, number three, interstate supply having the same PAN number. Okay, number four, supply subject to principal. Okay, subject to principal. Okay, this all shall be included except reverse charge mechanism. Except what? Reverse charge mechanism. Here you are paying tax on taxable supply, you are also paying tax on reverse charge mechanism, but this reverse charge mechanism shall not be included. Shall not be included. Okay, right. Number two, taxes like CGST, SGST, IGST, UTGST, this shall not be included with your turnover. Okay, why? We need to understand turnover. So here we are talking about what? Threshold limit. We are talking about what? Threshold limit. So what is that threshold limit? What is that? Threshold limit. So we can break into three scenarios. Your threshold limit of your turnover in each state. Okay, in each state, if it is more than 10 lakhs, if it is more than 20 lakhs, if it is more than 40 lakhs. Okay, if it is more than 40 lakhs, then you are liable for registration. You are liable for registration. Okay, what is this 10 lakhs? What is this 20 lakhs? What is this 30, 40 lakhs? Okay, here in case of 10 lakhs, okay, this four state, one is Manipur, Mizoram, okay, next Nagaland, okay, Nagaland and Tripura. Nagaland and Tripura, whether you're supplying goods or whether you're supplying services, whether you're supplying services, okay, or you're supplying goods or services, okay, goods and services, both, okay, in a goods and services in the scenario showroom. For example, I am supplying AC, okay, I'm also installing AC, okay, here goods also is there, services also is there, okay, so here goods or services or goods and services, okay, in this cases for this four state, one is Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland and Tripura. In this four state, if the turnover exceed 10 lakhs, then you are to liable for registration. You are mandatorily to register. You are mandatorily registered if the turnover cross more than 10 lakhs. Okay, cross more than 10 lakhs. Clear? So this four states, okay, one is Manipur, number two Mizoram, number three Nagaland, number four Tripura. Okay, this four state. Next, number two, more than 20 lakhs. More than what? 20 lakhs. Okay, or more than 20 lakhs. I'm break this more than 20 lakhs. Here, I'm breaking into two scenarios. Exclusively goods. Exclusively, there is goods and services. Exclusively goods and exclusively goods and there is both goods and services. Okay, I'm doing goods alone. For example, I'm running a medical shop. Okay, I'm running a medical shop where I am supplying only goods. I'm supplying only goods. I'm running a small provision shop. I'm running only goods. Okay, this is called as exclusively goods. Okay, exclusively goods. Okay, so when it talks about exclusively goods, I'm not involving in services. I'm not involving in services. Okay, so here when I supplying service, that is when I supply goods as well as services, it will come under this scenarios. Okay, so when I supply goods and services for any state, okay, for any states, it is subject to 20 lakhs. If I supply goods plus services, it is subject to, it is so இப்போ வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, okay, here I'm saying that goods and services, okay, I'm talking about what? Goods and services. Okay, goods and services. If it is goods and services, it is restricted to 20 lakhs. It is restricted to 20 lakhs. If I'm supplying only goods, if I'm supplying only goods, okay, here for this state, okay, what is that? Uttarakhand. I'll just make it in other way. Okay, Meghalaya. Okay, Uttarakhand. Next Sikkim. Next Arunachal Pradesh. Next Puducherry. That is Pondicherry. Next Telangana. Okay, next Telangana. Okay, so this pathina. Okay, in the 8 state, okay, they are subject to northeastern states. Northeastern states. Okay. So here, if it talks about Meghalaya, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, okay, they are supplying only goods, or they are supplying only services. Okay, or they are supplying only there is either supply of goods or services. They are subject to restricted to 20 lakhs. Okay, if the turnover exceed more than 20 lakhs, okay, then they are liable for registration. If the turnover is less than 20 lakhs, they are not liable for registration. For any other states, if they are doing both goods as well as services, they are subject to 20 lakhs. They are subject to what? 20 lakhs. Okay, they are subject to what? 20 lakhs. Okay, so now we are understanding 10 lakhs. Now we are understanding 20 lakhs. Now we are just going to understand, okay, more than 40 lakhs. Okay, so here, if a person other than the 10 states, other than this 10 states, okay, other than this 10 states, if they're doing exclusively on goods, if they're supplying exclusively on goods, okay, then if the turnover is less than 40 lakhs, okay, then no registration. If no, there is more than 40 lakhs, okay, if it is more than 40 lakhs, then registration is mandatory. Registration is mandatory. Okay, for example, I'm in Tamil Nadu. I'm doing medical shop business. Okay, where I'm not crossing more than 40 lakhs. My business turnover is 35 lakhs. Whether I can liable for registration? No. If I am in Andhra Pradesh, okay, if I am in Andhra Pradesh, I am running some other shops, okay, whether I am there is some other provision shop, etc., stationery shop, etc., or any other shops, okay, or only supplying of goods alone, okay, where turnover is like 20, 30, 40 lakhs, okay, so turnover is 38 lakhs. Whether I am liable for registration? No. If I am in Telangana, if I am just doing business 38 lakhs, whether I am liable for registration? Yes, I am liable for registration. Why? Because turnover is exceeding more than 20 lakhs. So I make it in simple view. Okay, so it is subject to what? Turnover. Turnover more than 10 lakhs, turnover more than 20 lakhs, turnover more than 40 lakhs. Here, okay, goods as well as services. Here I break it into goods as well as services. Okay, here I'm just breaking into only goods, okay. So here he has to do exclusively goods. Okay, so here other than 10 states, okay, if you supply goods, okay, if he supply goods, then no registration is required. Okay, if it is less than 40 lakhs, okay, if it is less than 40 lakhs, then no registration is required. If it is more than 40 lakhs, then registration is required. Okay, for this 4 states, one is Manipur, next Meghalaya, okay, Manipur, Meghalaya, Nagaland, and Tripura. Goods as well as services, or goods or services. Okay, if it is more than 10 lakhs, then they are liable for registration. Okay, in case of this particular person, if it is more than 20 lakhs, okay, if it is more than 20 lakhs, for this 6 states, okay, okay, so they are restricted. Even they supply only goods, or even they supply goods as well as services, okay, or goods there is only services, okay, they are liable to register, they are liable to restrict to subject to rupees 20 lakh. For example, Yomurthy, okay, he's just doing services. He is just doing chartered account services in Telangana or in Uttarakhand or in Meghalaya. Then I am restricted to rupees 20 lakhs. I am restricted to what? Rupees 20 lakhs. So Yomurthy, I have a medical shop. He running a medical shop in that is Uttarakhand or Meghalaya or Tripura, etc., and he's just having 25 lakhs of turnover. Then he's liable for registration because the turnover exceeding more than 20 lakhs is liable for registration. So in the four state, our state in Uttarakhand, there is then Meghalaya, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, okay, Arunachal Pradesh, Pondicherry, and Telangana. The 6th state alone, it is restricted to 20 lakhs. Okay, if you supply either goods or services or what? Goods and services. Okay, so except this 10 state, they are liable for registration. Except for this 10 state, they are liable for registration. If they are exclusively doing only goods, if they are exclusively doing only goods, then they are liable. They are liable to register only if the turnover exceed more than 40 lakhs. Otherwise, registration is not required. Okay, registration is not required. Okay, now clear? Now clear? Okay, so here, so I repeat once again, make it very clear. So turnover exceed more than 10 lakhs, turnover exceed more than 20 lakhs, turnover exceed more than 40 lakhs. Okay, இப்போ நான் வந்து பழைய view ஒன்னு பார்த்தா இப்போ புது view பார்க்கலாம். ஓகேவா? I am supplying only goods. I am supplying goods and services. I am supplying only goods, then I am supplying goods and services. So if I am supplying goods, it is subject to 40 lakhs. It is subject to what? 40 lakhs. If I supply goods or services, okay, if services is part of your scenarios, then it is subject to 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs. It is subject to what? 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs. Okay. So here, if I supply only goods, if I supply only goods except the 10 states, okay, for other state, if other state, this condition is applied. This above scenarios apply. This threshold is applied. Okay. This 20 lakhs, okay, this 20 lakhs, if it is here, I just breaking into two scenarios. If I'm supplying only goods, okay, if I'm supplying only, if I supplying only goods, if I supplying goods and services, okay, this 6th state, okay, this 6th state, okay, they have to liable for registration, okay, even the turnover exceed more than, if the turnover exceed more than 20 lakhs. For example, 6th state enna pathina Uttarakhand, okay, Meghalaya, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, okay, Telangana and Pondicherry. Okay, in the other state mattum, if they are supplying only goods, they are liable for registration if cross more than 20 lakhs. If they are supplying goods and services, if they cross more than 20 lakhs. If they supply goods only services, if it is cross more than 20 lakhs. I think so. It is very clear. Right? Right? So next, suppose if I am supplying other than this 6th state, other than this 4th state, okay, other than this 4th state, here it is 6, here it is 4th state. Okay, so if it is other than the 6th state, okay, here other than the 6th plus 4, there is 10th state. If only supply of goods now, if it is more than 40 lakhs, then only liable for registration. Okay, right? So liable for registration. In the 4th state, enna pathina, okay, one vandu here already Mizoram paathachi. Next one padana, so Meghalaya paatha, inge Mizoram. Okay, next one Manipur, Nagaland and Tripura. I think so. It's very clear, right? So here whether they supply goods or services or goods and services or only goods, okay, it is subject to 10 lakhs. It is subject to 10 lakhs. Clear? Clear? Right. Fine. Now, so in the first scenario, we are talking about turnover. We are talking about what? Turnover. If I'm cross more than 10 lakhs, in I'm not going to explain in details, okay, in depth, okay. So yeah, I'm just going to explain 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs or 40 lakhs, okay. 40 lakhs only goods, okay, 10 only goods other than 10 states, okay. Okay, now 20 lakhs, okay, there is for that 6th state, if they supply only goods, okay, even they supply only goods and services, even there is goods and there is Um, 1 second more. Okay. So here 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 40 lakhs. Okay. It is subject to whether you are liable for registration or not liable for registration. Okay. Suppose I am going for voluntary registration. Whether I can do voluntary registration, even my turnover is less than 20, less than 10, less than 40. Yes. You can register voluntarily also, but you should comply with all provision. You have to comply with all provision. What are the provision which has been applicable to this person? It is also applicable to this person also. Okay. You have to register. Okay. You have to, if you are, once you are registered, you have to comply with GST. Okay, you have to comply with GST provisions. Okay, whether your turnover is less than 10 lakhs, your turnover is more than 10 lakhs, your turnover is more than 20 lakhs, or your turnover is more than 40 lakhs, less than 20 lakhs or less than 40 lakhs, not at all an issue. Okay, you have to comply with all provisions. Clear? So, this is the scenarios. Okay, so why I have to voluntarily register? Why I have to voluntarily register? Okay, is it is register requirement is there? In certain cases, voluntary registration is something happen. For example, Yomurthy supplying goods to a manufacturer. Okay, the manufacturer asking me, if you are registered only, I will give you work. Then this person will register compulsory. Okay, Yomurthy getting a government tender. Okay, for government tender registration is mandatory. Government tender registration is mandatory. So if I have less than turnover, okay, Yomurthy want to transfer ITC to other person. Okay, there is a I am purchasing goods. I am also selling goods. I can utilize this ITC. Okay, because I am supplying the goods. This person I am supplying only to the registered person. Yes, I am going to collect the tax anyway from the registered person. So here I can utilize this ITC by utilizing this scenario. So both the things can be happen. My cost has been reduced. My cost has been reduced. For example, Yomurthy is purchasing 100. Okay, he paid 18 rupees. Now 118. If I'm unregistered, this 118 itself total cost. Okay, 118 is a total cost. Okay, so here 118 is my cost. Okay, Yomurthy selling to the registered person. Okay, then in such cases he will sell 150. Okay, he'll sell with 150. In such cases, he will not put any GST. Okay, he cannot avail this input also. That's 118 itself total cost. In case I am a registered person now, 100 is my cost. I can take this 18 rupees as an input over here. I can avail the input over here. So this is a benefit which has been there in the voluntary registration. Okay, so here you can register in many states. Okay, you can. There is no restriction in such scenarios. Okay, there is no restriction under this particular scenarios. Okay, clear? All right. So next, so your turnover, again, we're just going to end this topic. Turnover is subject to what? PAN wise. Turnover subject to what? PAN wise. Okay, it is consolidation PAN wise. You will check in a PAN whether you are more than 20 lakhs or you are more than 40 lakhs. If it is more than 20 lakhs, then you are liable for registration. If it's more than less than 20 lakhs, you are not liable for registration. Okay, it is subject to PAN. Next, number two, if I am a partnership, if I have a partnership firm, partners is different and partnership firm is different. Already you know very well. Okay, if I am a HUF, HUF is different, member is different. Okay, members PAN is different, HUF is different. If I am a company, company is different, members of this company is different. Okay, members of company is different. Okay, right? ஒரு நிமிஷம் கண்ணா கொஞ்சம் மியூட்ல போடுங்க others please. Okay, company is different. Any doubt in the கேளுங்க, right? So these are the scenarios, okay, which has been required. Okay, so this is a main scenario you have to understand. For example, Yomurthy is an individual. He is having a partnership firm, Yomurthy and Co. Okay, so we Yomurthy and Co. So here it is assume that it is a partnership firm. This partnership firm is different, Yomurthy is different. Okay, when Yomurthy crosses more than 20 lakhs, then only he is liable for registration. If partnership firm is less than 10 lakhs, okay, partnership firm not required to register. Partnership firm not required to register. Okay, so here these are the scenarios which has been understood accordingly. Okay, right? Number two. Okay, number two, right? So here, so this is the there is number two. If HUF, I am a member of HUF. Okay, I am the head of the family. Okay, so I am a karta of this family. So my family is, there is my family turnover is less than 10 lakhs, but Yomurthy is more than 20 lakhs. So Yomurthy is liable for registration. HUF is not liable for registration. HUF is not liable for registration. I think so I made it clear, right? So this is number one. So right now up to this we are talking about turnover. We have completed the turnover topic. Now we're just going to move to the another scenario is called as, okay, if I am registered under existing law, if I am registered under existing law, number one, I already registered under excise, I'm already registered under service tax, I'm already registered under VAT. So if I am already registered under this various act, okay, now under section 22, you are also liable to register, okay, with the, even if it is less than 20 lakhs, even less than 10 lakhs, even less than 40 lakhs, it is not a scenario. You have to liable for registration. You have to liable for registration. For example, Yomurthy already registered under service tax in the old act. Now, with effect when it starts from 1/7/2017, I have to register in GST also. So it is called as provisional registration. I have to register accordingly. Clear? So this is number 2. Suppose I am doing a manufacturing activities. I am registered under excise. Whether I am liable for registration now? Yes, he has to register. He has to come. That is, he have to liable for registration under section 22. He has to register under section 22. Clear? Right. So this is the number 2 scenarios. Number third scenarios. Transfer. Number third scenario what? Transfer. So here, so when you're talking about registration, okay, we are discussing about this scenarios. Okay, we are discussing about this scenarios. One is subject to turnover. Number 2, subject to turnover. Number 2, subject to registration under existing law. Third is transfer. Okay, what is this transfer? Okay, so here Yomurthy is doing business. Yomurthy & Co is doing business. He's going to transfer his business to another person. Okay, otherwise Yomurthy is a proprietorship. Now it is converted into partnership firm. Okay, Yomurthy is running a partnership firm. Now it is converted into company. Yomurthy is running. There is Yomurthy already having a company. Okay, now this company has been merged with another company. Okay, there is V Yomurthy and there is V Yomurthy or whatever company XYZ. Okay, company private limited. It has been merged with this company. Okay, then Yomurthy private limited. Okay, Yomurthy private limited. Now this has been amalgamated with another company. This has been amalgamated with, okay, XYZ company. Right? So here this person is called as transferor. Okay, this person is called as what? Transferee. This person is called as what? Transferor. This person is called as what? Transferee. I am transferring this business when my business is under going concern. You know very well about going concern, accounting standard 1. Okay, so you have to understand the going concern. Business is running. Okay, business is not going to stop anything else. Okay, it is subject to what? Going concern. Clear? So here I'm going to stop my business. I'm not going to stop my business means what? I'm going to transfer my business. Okay, to transferee. So here and after I'm not going to do business. Okay, because the transferor is going to take the business and he's just going to take part of this. Okay, so when the there is here when I'm transferred to transferee, when this transferor already registered, then the transferee also, okay, we are talking in the point of transferee also liable for registration. Mean to say, Yomurthy is converted into partnership firm. Yomurthy already registered is, now the partnership also registered. Yomurthy is running, he is a partnership firm, now it is converted into company. Partnership has already registered. Now Yomurthy company also can, private limited shall also registered. Yomurthy Private Limited is already registered. Now it has been merged with XYZ Private Limited. Then XYZ Limited shall liable for registration under section 22. Yomurthy there is Private Limited. Now it is merged. There is amalgamated with XYZ Private Limited. Then this XYZ Limited also can. That person also shall registered. Then from Yomurthy Company. Okay, one more company which has been segregated as there is V Yomurthy and Company. Okay, like demerged. This is what is called demerger company. This is called as what? Resulting company. This is called as what? Resulting company. Now the resulting company shall also register. So when you transfer the business from one person to another person, when you transfer the business from one person to another person, then you are to liable to registered under this particular scenarios. Okay, you are to liable to registered by the transferee company. Okay, you are to mandatorily registered by the transferee company. Okay, so this is the scenarios where you are liable for registration. To summarize, okay, if it is subject to turnover, if it is subject to what, it is subject to, okay, already registered under existing law. Number 3, if I transfer, then I am liable for registration under section 22. I am liable for registration under section 22. So when I'm subject to turnover, okay, the turnover, if I'm supplying only goods பொறுத்தவரைக்கும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா, okay, I'm breaking into 40 lakhs, okay, other than 10 states, okay, only goods, okay, only goods. If I am other than the 10 state, okay, if I am, my turnover is less than 20 lakhs, that respected 6 states. If my turnover is less than 10 lakhs, that my respected that 4 states. Okay, so here I have to register. I have to. So if it is more than 20 lakhs, more than 10 lakhs, okay, more than 40 lakhs, I have to register. Okay, in the 4 states enna pathina, okay, Meghalaya, sorry, Manipur, Mizoram, okay, Tripura and Nagaland. In the 6 states பொறுத்தவரைக்கும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா Meghalaya, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, okay, next வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா Uttarakhand, next Telangana and what, Pondicherry. Okay, other than this 4 states, if I supplying only goods, okay, other than this 10 states, then it is restricted to 40 lakhs. If it is more than 40 lakhs, then I am liable for registration, right? Number 2, if I supply only services now, it is restricted to 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs. So here, this 4 states, here other than 4 states, okay. To summarize that, the 40 lakhs into the exclusively goods matana. Suppose I am in Tamil Nadu, I am servicing, I am doing services now, I am come to 20 lakhs, that is the scenarios. Okay, if I am doing business in Maharashtra, I am doing a chartered account services, I am restricted to 20 lakhs, okay. If I am doing business in Bihar, I am doing services and goods, then I am restricted to 20 lakhs, okay. So here it is supplying only goods, here supplying goods and services, okay. Next, number 3rd scenarios, okay, 3rd scenarios பொறுத்தவரைக்கும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா அந்த 10 lakhs பொறுத்தவரைக்கும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா, okay, 10 lakhs பொறுத்தவரைக்கும் அந்த force, that is, sorry, next வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா goods and services, again it is restricted to what, 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs. 20 lakhs பொறுத்தவரைக்கும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா, okay, 10 lakhs பொறுத்தவரைக்கும் 4 states, goods and services. I'm using the word goods and services, goods plus services. If I'm doing both goods and services now, then I'm restricted only for 20 lakhs, not 40 lakhs. 40 lakhs will not come. Even I am in Tamil Nadu, it is restricted to 20 lakhs. For example, AC plus installation services now, it is restricted to 20 lakhs. Okay, I'm doing maintenance services as well as supplying of some other product now, then it is subject to 20 lakhs. So if it is cost more than 20 lakhs, I am liable for registration. So here, only for this 4 state, it is restricted to 10 lakhs and other state is restricted to 20 lakhs, right? Number 2, subject to existing law. Subject to what? Existing law. So if I'm already registered under existing law, okay, existing law means service tax, where there is VAT, then excise duty. If already registered in the sense, I also register under GST also. Number 3, if I'm that is subject to what? Transfer. Subject to what? Transfer. Okay, where the transferor company and transferee company already registered, then transferee company shall registered under section 22. Under section what? 22, right? Next, if I am subject to voluntary registration means it is subject to turnover. Okay, this 2 condition already over. Okay, where I am less than 20, less than 40 or less than 10, I can do registration. Whether I can do registration? Yes, I can do registration, but you have to comply with all GST provision. What are the advantages in this? You can transfer, etc., etc. You can do everything. Okay, so this is to summarize about this particular provision. I think so. Clear? Right? Fine. Now we are going to another next scenario called as section 23. person, I'm using the word, not liable for registration. Person not liable for registration. Person not liable for registration. Okay. Person not liable for registration. Yeah, but the person not liable for registration. Number one, okay, a person who supply only exemption, okay, exemption supply. Exemption supply into நம்ம later பார்ப்போம். Okay, but here understand that there are three types of supply. One is taxable supply, one is exempt supply, one is zero rated supply. Okay, one is zero rated supply. So we are going to see exempt supply or nil rated supply, etc., etc. This alone we just going to see. Okay, if I am supplying only exempt supply, then not liable for registration. For example, I am a egg dealer. I am a egg dealer. Egg dealer, egg is not liable for tax. I'm not required to registration. I'm doing business of cutting. That is, I'm business of you know that. Okay, I'm running a chicken. There is a poultry shop or chicken shop, or I'm just running a meat shop. Okay, this is all exempt supply. Okay, not required to register. I'm not required to register. Okay, for example, in this, okay, I'm running a fish shop, fish market. Okay, I'm running only fish. I'm supplying only fish. Okay, this is an exempt supply. It is not liable for registration. Okay, then I'm running a hospital alone. Okay, this is also exempt supply. This is not liable for registration. Okay, I'm supplying like other scenarios. Okay, then I'm not liable for registration. If I'm doing only this supply, then it is liable for, not liable for registration. For example, hospital is exempt supply, but if you're running a medical shop, it is a taxable supply. Hospital is exempt supply, medical shop is exempt that is taxable supply. If I running hospital business as well as medical shop business, then you have to consolidation. You are not only supplying exempt supply, you are also supplying what? Taxable supply also. So you will not come under this scenario. So in the sense, you are subject to section 22. You are subject to section 22. That means what? Turnover less than 20 lakhs, turnover, there is turnover less than 20 lakhs or 40 lakhs or 10 lakhs subject to so and so, so and so. Okay. So you have to go by that provisions. So if I supply only exempt supply, then I am not liable for registration. Number two, if I am subject to agriculturalist, if I am subject to what? Agriculturalist. Okay. Agriculture in the sense I am producing out of cultivation from my land, out of cultivation from my land, because agricultural supply, everything it is subject to what? Exempt supply. It is subject to what? Exempt supply. Okay. Here everything is subject to what? Exempt supply. So I am not required to register accordingly. Number three, okay, so if it is GST council, okay, as recommended by the GST council, then this is also not required for registration. This is also not required for registration. If anything which has been said in the GST council, not required for registration. So this is the person not liable for registration. Agricultural example, okay, I am cultivating paddy. I am supplying to the rice dealer. Okay, cultivating paddy is not subject to exempt. That is not subject to taxable supply. It is fully exempt supply. So NCA is not taxable. Okay, so I am running a poultry. Okay, where I am supplying chicken, that is egg and poultry items, then it is not supply. Okay, I am supplying goat. Okay, it is not considered supply. Okay, so there are certain supply which is, that is I am doing only. Sorry, so this all comes under exempt supply. So this is some subject to what? Agriculturalist. So if agriculture in the sense I'm doing cultivating flowers. Flower is not subject to supply. Then I'm supplying fruits. Okay, I'm cultivating fruits. There is plant. By that I'm just getting fruits. It is not considered as supply. So here these are all considered as agriculturalist. Then this person is not regarded as supply. Clear? Right? Right. Now, okay. Now, we're just going to go to the next section. Okay. Section 23. Compulsory registration. Compulsory registration. Okay. So compulsory registration. I will break into this way. Okay, I will break into this way. Number one, if I supply interstate supply. Number one, what? Interstate supply. Number two, okay, if I am subject to input service distributor, if I am subject to input service distributor, okay, sorry, section 24, sorry, right, section 24, input, there is compulsory registration. If I am subject to interstate supply. Number two, okay, input service distributor. Number three, okay, number three, if I am subject to reverse charge mechanism. If I subject to what? Reverse charge mechanism. Okay. Next, I will break another scenarios. If I am subject to TDS, if I am subject to TCS, if I am subject to TDS, and if I am subject to TCS. Next, okay, if I am subject to casual taxable person, okay, casual taxable person, or if I am subject to non-resident taxable person. Okay, if I am subject to non-resident taxable person. Okay, next, other scenarios for the principal and agent. Okay, principal and agent, e-commerce operator. Okay, supply to e-commerce operator. Supply to e-commerce operator. Clear? So, okay, and any other person as mentioned by the GST Council, as mentioned by the GST Council. Okay, right? So these are the persons are compulsorily registered. Okay, they are not subject to section 22. They are not subject to section 22. Okay, they will not come under section 22. They are subject to what? Section 24. They are subject to section 24. Okay, I make an example. Number one, interstate supply. Okay, right? So Yuvamurthy doing a trading business. If I have a business only in Tamil Nadu, I'm not supplying to any other state. Okay, then it is not subject to interstate supply. It is called as intra. Okay, what happened? Yuvamurthy getting an order from Chennai. The turnover is less than 20 lakhs. Or the turnover is less than 20 lakhs. So I am not subject to registration. I am not subject to registration. But okay, my turnover is less than 12 lakhs. Assume the 12 lakhs. Okay, so but Yuvamurthy getting a supply. Okay, in Kerala. Yuvamurthy getting a supply in Kerala. He going to supply to Kerala na. Okay, that is nothing but interstate supply. Okay, interstate supply. Right. So now, if you check here, in such cases, my voice, the mute la konja podunga, my voice thirupi kekudhu. Okay, in such cases, okay, if I am, that is Yuvamurthy shall register. Yuvamurthy shall register. Even turnover is less than 20, turnover is less than 10, turnover is less than 40. Turnover is less than 40. Okay, so it is subject to provision, already we have been explained. So here, if I supply between state, if I supply between state, okay, I am subject to, okay, I am subject to what? I have to register accordingly. Clear? So I have to mandatorily register. Okay, I have to mandatorily register. Clear? Right? Number two. So here there is one notification which has been came with regards to services. With regards to services. Okay, with regards to services, where services. Okay, one minute. Okay, with regards to services, okay, with effect from 6th October 2017, with effect from 6th October 2017. Okay, wow. So here, with effect from 6th October 2017, patina, okay, if I am supplying interstate supply, okay, goods, in the sense you have to compulsory register under section 24. Okay, even the turnover is less than 20 or 40 or 10. Okay, but if I supply services alone, then Here it is subject to turnover under section 22. That means what? If my turnover is more than 20 or my turnover is less than more than 10, then only I have to register. Okay, even if I supply interstate supply, this is a major provision. Okay, you have to make it very clear in this particular scenarios. In this particular scenarios, you have to very much clear. Okay, so I repeat once again. Okay, if it is a goods, if it is a goods interstate supply, I mean there is interstate supply. Okay, it is subject to registration under section 24. Even the turnover is less than 20, less than 40, or less than 10. Okay, if I am doing services, okay, it is not subject to section 24. Okay, by way of notification, because notification came with effect from 6th October 2017. Okay, so here it is subject to what? Threshold limit. It is subject to what? Threshold limit. Okay, so here this person is not required to register. This person is not required to register. This is so much mandatory. Okay, exam like eklam, goods and services. If I supply both goods and services, okay, then I have to compulsory registered. Okay, if I do an interstate supply. Okay, for example, AC supplied to Andhra Pradesh and also doing installation services. I am in Tamil Nadu. Whether registration is required? Yes. Okay. I'm doing only installation services in Andhra Pradesh. I'm doing only installation services in Andhra Pradesh. I'm not in the supply of goods now. Whether registration is required? It is subject to section 22. It is subject to section 22. Clear? Because it is here, it is only a services, here goods and services. Here goods and services. I think so. It is very clear over here, right? Right. Number two, what we seen? Input service distributor. Input service distributor. Heading is input service distributor. So when it talks about input service distributor, okay, I have a same PAN number, okay, but I have various branches. Branch 1, branch 2, branch 3, branch 4. Okay, so here it is in Tamil Nadu. Okay, branch 1 is in Tamil Nadu. There is and head office. Okay, so I put head office at Tamil Nadu. Okay, one branch in Bangalore, one branch in Mumbai, one branch in Kolkata, one branch in Delhi. Okay, I have various branches in various places. So here, what happens is, okay, so here certain credit. Okay, here head office. Okay, and here I will be doing normal registration. I will be doing what? Normal registration. Okay. Here also I have to register in normal registration. Assume that everything is more than 20 lakhs. Assume that more than 10 lakhs, etc., etc. All conditions are satisfied. Every person are registered. Every persons are registered. Every place it has been registered. Okay. Now, because its turnover is, that is, you have to go by PAN wise. Turnover more than 20 lakhs, then you have to register. Okay. So you have already registered here. You are also registering in various places. Okay. Now, in such cases, if I am subject to, okay, here I am a common credit. For example, I'm doing audit, stock audit in this place. I'm doing stock audit here, but I'm making invoices to head office. I'm making invoices to head office. This head office will distribute the credit to this person. The head office will distribute the credit to this person. Okay. So if this particular scenarios, okay. So here I'm doing what? The word input service distributor. The word called as what? Input service distributor. So here the word is nothing but service. So if I am doing services in various branches, but I am billing to head office shall register by way of input service distributor and distribute the credit to various branches. Branches 1, branches 2, branches 3. Because this and all assume that factory. Okay, this is head office. I'm not supplying any goods. But all bills are coming to this head office. Then this input service distribution, this input shall be distributed to this various person, because each and every person are registered separately. Even I have in Tamil Nadu, I have to do a separate register in as a input service distributor. Okay, right? So now, if you check here in this particular scenarios, okay, head office, okay, will be act like an input service distributor, and other branches they will be as a normal registered person. Other person they will be act like a normal registered person. Okay, in such cases, This person is a different person, this person is a different person. Under the GST point of view, every person shall register separately, but this input shall be distributed to this various person. This can be distributed only have the same PAN. For example, it is nothing but called as distinct person. It is nothing but called as what? Distinct person. Distinct person another. Yomurthy having a PAN. He has various branches. Okay. So Yomurthy branches da idellame. So he only can distribute to these various branches. Okay, Yomurthy cannot distribute to this subsidiary company also. Yomurthy cannot distribute to this holding company. This is not possible because this has different PAN number, this has different PAN number. Okay, so this has a different PAN number, this has different PAN number, so he cannot distribute accordingly. Clear? So number one, you should have the same PAN number, then only he can distribute, otherwise he cannot distribute. Okay, I think so it's clear, right? So you have to register separately. Right? This is number two. Number three, if I am subject to reverse charge mechanism, I am liable to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism. Then I have to register. Okay, I have to register. In the reverse charge mechanism, we'll see later. Reverse charge mechanism on certain goods, reverse charge mechanism on certain services. Okay. So, for example, goods for the tendul leaves and then the tobacco leaves, tendul leaves supply to the manufacturer. This person is called as agriculturalist. Okay, he is in supplying exempt supply, not taxable. But when he supply to this person on such goods, this person is liable under reverse charge mechanism. So this example we'll see under section 9. Okay, under levy in detail. Okay, so adanala I'm just skipping. If a person is liable under reverse charge mechanism, that person is liable for registration. He has to compulsorily register. Okay, At present, we are just seeing three scenarios. One is what? If a person supply interstate supply, if he supply goods, okay, irrespective of turnover, you are liable for registration. If it is services, subject to 6/10/2017, okay, turnover exceed more than 20 or turnover exceed more than 10, then he is liable for registration. Okay, it is also applicable for e-commerce operator also. It is also applicable for a person who is supplying services to e-commerce operator. This number e-commerce operator. Okay, right. This is number one. Number two, we are talking about what? Number two, what? Input service distributor. Okay, having a same PAN number. Okay, assume Yomurthy have a PAN number, you have various branches. Okay, using such branches, I'm going to register accordingly. So, this is number two. Number three, we are talking about reverse charge mechanism. If any person liable under reverse charge mechanism, irrespective of section 22, irrespective of turnover, okay, section 22 turnover is liable for registration, compulsory register. Okay, this is number three. Okay, so these are the three scenarios we have seen. Number one, interstate supply, input service distributor. Number three, what? Reverse charge mechanism. Now, we just going to see, okay, casual taxable person and non-resident taxable person. This is number one, Mudichachi. Number two, we are going for. Okay, so number two, casual taxable person, non-resident taxable person. Word enna solludu? Casual taxable person. Here it is talking about what? Non-resident taxable person. So when it talks about casual taxable person, it is talking about resident. Okay, here it is talking about what? Non-resident. Here it might be include non-resident also in certain cases. So he already registered, okay, under GST. He also registered under GST. But most of the cases is not a, so we just go resident. Okay. So what is this meaning? Word casual taxable person, non-resident taxable person, For example, okay, Yomurthy, okay, he's just doing trading business in Chennai. Now he going to put an exhibition at Bangalore for temporary period. period, okay, he doesn't have any place of business in Bangalore. He doesn't have any place of business in Bangalore. Okay, but you want to do some business activities in Bangalore. Okay, so when you want to do business in Bangalore, where he doesn't have any place of business, okay, suppose here there is the only possibility scenario, you have to register in Bangalore, Karnataka. You have to register at Karnataka. So it is a huge process. It is a huge process. Instead of going by this, I can register as a casual taxable person. I can register as a casual taxable person. I can register as a casual taxable person. Okay, right? I'm clear, I think so. Right. Number two, if you're non-resident, okay, we're going to do some repairs and maintenance services in Chennai. He came to Chennai, okay, where it is a taxable services, where it is a taxable services, which is subject to a taxable person. Okay, he's just going to do some services. When you're doing some services, he getting a receipt. He getting a receipt. In such cases, here this non-resident taxable person is not having any business place of business in India. He doesn't have any place of business in India. I'm talking about the word what? Doesn't have place of business in India. He doesn't have place of business in such state or union territory. இது ரெண்டுத்தோட டிஃபரன்ஸ் பாத்தீங்கன்னா such state or union territory இங்க வந்து it doesn't have place of business in India. It doesn't have place of business in such state or territory. It doesn't have place of business in India. Then in such cases, okay, and then in such cases he can go for in this particular normal non-resident taxable person. This is also a temporary registration. This is also called as what? Temporary registration in such state. Okay, you can go for temporary registration in such state. Clear? So this is number one. This is number two. Both are just coinciding because both the provision are one and the same. Except here is a resident. Here it is a non-resident. Here, okay, this person doesn't have a place of business in state or union territory. This person doesn't have state of place of business in India. Okay, it doesn't have a place of business in India. So now for both the person, registration is compulsory. Both the person registration is compulsory. So yeah, both the person is registration is compulsory. Right. Now we're going to see some other differences. Some other differences. You have to submit a basic documents. Okay, you have to submit a basic documents. Here he has to submit his PAN number. He has to submit his mobile number. He has to submit his email ID. Okay, you have to put such state or union territory. You have to put a such state or union territory. Okay, in case of non-resident taxable person, okay, he may have PAN number or he may not have PAN number. Okay, he may have PAN number, he may not have PAN number. In case of he don't have PAN number, he can go by UIN, unique identification number, or business entity number. He just having in such state. For example, I am in US. Okay, I already doing business in US. I have some unique number in US. Okay, that unique number can be given. Okay, so here he can appoint any person who is in India. His phone number and mobile, that is his mobile number can be given. Okay, his mobile number can be given. Number two, mail ID can be given accordingly. Mail ID can be given accordingly. So yeah, next one, okay, this person, okay, in such state or union territory he has to register. Such state or union territory he has to register. I repeat once again. This is talking about resident person. This is talking about what? Non-resident person. Okay, where this person doesn't have such place of business in such state or union territory. This person doesn't have state or in India. So he can go by this particular document. This person can go by this particular document. Clear? Right. Now we're just going to see a common point. We're just going to see a common point. Okay. Now, if you see here, common point okay. So here, both the persons, okay. One second, ma. Right. Fine. Now, we're talking about these various differences. Number two, we're just going to understand about, okay, common points. We're just going to understand what? Common points. Rupan, okay, we're just going to understand the common points. Number one, okay, both the person shall registered, okay, before commencing, that is before 5 days. Okay, prior to the commencing of business. Prior to the commencing of business. So both the persons shall register before 5 days. Okay, they have to register before 5 days. Number one. Okay, suppose I want to register in other state. If I want to go into do business in other state, in the sense I have to do prior registration before 5 days. Okay, number two, both the persons shall pay advance tax. Both the persons shall pay advance tax by computing estimate tax liability. By estimate what? Tax liability. Okay, by estimating what? Tax liability. So you have to determine the tax liability accordingly. So yeah, number three. Okay, number three. Okay, so number three. Both the persons are eligible to take what? ITC, but in case of resident, okay, in case of resident person who there is, he can eligible to take ITC on all purchases, but for a non-resident person, he can take ITC only on import of goods, not on domestic purchase, not on domestic purchase. So this is the only a critical point. Okay, where resident can take input on all ITC on all purchases, but for non-resident only on import of goods or services, but not on domestic transaction. But not on domestic transaction. Number four. Okay, number four. So here the casual taxable person or non-resident taxable person, if they act like a supplier, okay, they're supplying to the recipient, they're providing services or goods to the recipient. Now the recipient are eligible for ITC, the recipient are eligible for ITC, because this person is already paying advance tax. Okay, so here when he talks about this scenarios, okay, they're supplying goods to the recipient or they're supplying services to the recipient. The recipient are eligible to take ITC. The recipient are eligible to take what? ITC. Right? Next, if there is any shortage in the tax, advance tax, if there is any shortage in advance tax, they have to pay additional advance tax. Okay, so they have to pay additional advance tax. Right? Next, this registration is valid only for 90 days. This registration is valid only for 90 days for both the person. For both, it is valid only for 90 days. Okay, they can extend another 90 days. They can extend what? Another 90 days, subject to apply by the such person, registered person. Okay, they have to make an application to the such proper officer, so they can extend by the another 90 days. Okay, next, okay, suppose while doing this additional extension, okay, if advance tax is there, okay, then no, not required to pay advance tax. If advance tax is completed now, okay, that advance tax is over, then they have to pay additional advance tax. They have to pay additional advance tax. Okay, they have to pay what? Additional advance tax. Okay, when they are going for extension. Next scenario, okay, this person, okay, 90 days. Okay, so here, suppose if the supply is completed, okay, they're going to close. If there is any excess tax, okay, in advance tax, okay, after setting of the estimate tax liability, that is after setting of the actual tax liability, okay, if there is any excess tax, because they have to pay advance tax at the initial stage itself. Okay, if there is any excess tax, they can go for refund. Okay, so they can go for refund. Clear? Right? So now they also need to file a return every month. They have to file monthly returns of every month. So they are not subject to GSTR 1. They are not subject to GSTR 3B. They are not subject to GSTR 9. Okay, they are subject to GSTR. Okay, they are subject to what? GSTR 8. 1 second. Okay, so this is a non-resident taxable person. This is subject to what? GSTR. Okay, he is subject to GSTR 5. Okay, so he has to file monthly. This person has to file monthly. Only this return is more than enough. This return is more than return. Okay, I repeat. Okay, I repeat. These are the common points. Okay, before going to that, I'm just explaining overall scenarios. Casual taxable person, non-resident taxable person. Non-resident taxable person is nothing but a non-resident. This person is a resident. Okay, he going to do business in India. Okay, for his for short term. Okay, but he doesn't have any place of business in India. So he going to register accordingly in India. So this person, resident, this is casual taxable person. He doesn't have any place of business in such state or union territory. Okay, he going to do business such state or union territory for temporary period. Okay, for temporary period. Common points for the Patinam. So this person should have PAN, mobile number, email ID, state or union territory. Okay, this person is subject to they have. If you have PAN number, you can go by PAN number. Otherwise, you have to go by UIN number. Okay, or such registration number in such state or country, whatever case may be. Next, number 3, okay, he has to. That is in which state he is going to do business, and you have to have a mail ID. You should have a what? Register mobile number in India. Okay, if you don't have registered mobile number, he can go. That is, he can appoint some agent. Okay, his number he can give accordingly. Okay, so this is number 1. Number 2, we just going to understand a common points. Okay, with regards to all scenarios. Okay, in this common points, if you check, if you common points for the they have to registered 5 days before. Okay, they commence the business. 5 days before they commence the business. Number 2, okay, while registration they also need to pay advance tax. While registration they also need to pay advance tax. Number 3, okay. Number 3, okay, when they're paying advance tax, okay, so such scenarios is valid only for 90 days. Such scenarios, the registration is valid only for 90 days. They can extend by another 90 days by paying additional advance tax if the advance tax is not there. If the advance tax is not there. Number 4, okay, ITC. Number 4, what? ITC. Registered person can take ITC accordingly, but non-registered person cannot take this domestic transaction ITC, but he can take ITC on all import of goods and services. All import of goods and services. Okay. Number 5, okay, this person, non-resident person or casual taxable person supplying services to the recipient. Recipient is eligible for ITC. Recipient is eligible for ITC. Number 8, okay, if there is any shortage in advances, they have to pay such advances accordingly. Number 9, okay, number 9, they have to file a return monthly, okay, subject to the prescribed form. Subject to the prescribed form. Okay, so this is all about what? Non-resident taxable person and okay, casual taxable person. Non-resident taxable person and casual taxable person. Okay, so next one, we just complete this topic alone. TDS, TCS, TDS, any government authority. Okay, government authority, we just going to see a separate topic. Okay, this person is liable for registration. This person is liable for registration. Even there is turnover, whether turnover not be a turnover, nothing considered. Okay, so is not subject to section 22. Is liable for registration under section 24. Is liable under section 24. Next, TCS. It is applicable to e-commerce operator. Again, which is going to explain in detail in such chapter. Okay, that time we will be discussing in detail. Okay, as one of the detail. So here TDS. If I am subject to TDS, I have to direct TDS. Then I am subject to register under GST. If I want to, there is for e-commerce operator, they are liable to collect tax and they have to remit to the government. Okay, here there is this person is liable for registration. Okay, this person is liable for registration. Even this person is registration, normal registration. This person is liable to register under e-commerce operator under TCS, under e-commerce operator under TCS, right? Next we also talking about e-commerce operator. We talking about what? E-commerce operator. If any person who is subject to e-commerce operator, okay, is liable for registration, but there is a one notification which has been came, okay, where the turnover, அதாவது நம்ம 6th October 2017 ல என்ன சொன்னோம், because இது இந்த ஆக்ட்ல இப்போ வந்தது 1/7/2017, ஓகேவா? so here amended என்ன சொல்லி இருக்காங்கன்னா, turnover is more than 20 lakhs, turnover is more than 10 lakhs, then they are liable for registration. They are not subject to TCS. They are not subject to TCS. They are doing some business through e-commerce. Okay, they are liable under this scenarios. Okay, for example, Uber, Ola. Example, Amazon, Flipkart, etc. Okay, Amazon, Flipkart, etc. So here, this person's on liable for registration. Okay, now it is subject to section 22. Now it is subject to section 22, subject to such notification. If I am doing business with e-commerce operator, I am doing business with e-commerce operator. For example, Yuvamurthy giving goods to Amazon, and Amazon supplying goods. This supplying goods to Mr. Y. Mr. Y is paying to Amazon. Amazon is paying to Yuvamurthy. So there is Amazon is an e-commerce operator. He is liable for registration. Yuvamurthy is supplying to Amazon earlier. Okay, this provision is mandatorily registered in section 24. Now this has been removed subject to the notification 6th October 2017. Okay, so here it is subject to 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs. 20 lakhs or 10 lakhs, then he is liable for registration. So this person is liable only in such scenarios. Okay, clear? Clear? Okay, then any person supplying through online services, that person is also liable for registration. This person also liable for registration. Okay, this is all about section 24. This is all about section 24. I think it's clear, right? Okay, to summarize, section 22, section 23, section 24. Okay, it is subject to turnover, transfer, and existing law. Section 22 you are liable for registration. You are not liable for registration. Okay, not liable for registration. Agriculturalist, a person who supply exempt supply. Number 3 a person who supply exempt supply, or a person who is subject to agriculturalist. Number 3, it is subject to GST council. Either one section 24 interstate supply, ISD, input service distributor. Next, RCM, reverse charge mechanism. Next, like we have seen casual taxable person, non-resident taxable person. Next, we have seen TDS and TCS. Okay, next one we also understand e-commerce operator and supply to e-commerce operator and subject to GST council and online service distributor. Okay, so here these are the scenarios we have been seen. Okay, right? So now e-commerce operator, then one the input service distributor. Okay, right? E-commerce operator ஒண்ணு இல்லம்மா, அதை நான் கொஞ்சம் டீடைலா எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணுவேன். நம்ம will study under TCS, அதனால தான் நான் இந்த இடத்துல கொஞ்சம் ஸ்கிப் பண்ணேன். ஓகேவா? So that time I'll be explaining in depth. Input service distribute பொறுத்தவரைக்கும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா, okay, that is, I am a private limited company, XYZ private limited company. I have various branches. I have a head office. Head office is nothing doing, only admin work தான் பண்றாங்க. They are not supplying any services. Okay, but all invoices are coming to this head office only. Okay, I have branch in Tanjavur. I have branch in Bangalore. I have branch in Maharashtra, that is Mumbai. I have branch in Kerala. So I have branch in Kerala. So I have various branches, but supplying goods from various branches. For example, Yuvamurthy is doing stock audit to this XYZ private limited. Okay, so in Karnataka, Kerala, Mumbai, etc., etc., they are doing all in. He just doing all stock audit in various places, and he giving invoices to the Chennai head office. Okay, this head office not doing any supply. Using that there is invoices, he is not going to do any activities. Okay, in such cases, okay, in such cases, what they will do in the sense, they will distribute to his branches. Okay, we should have the same PAN number. In such cases, that PAN number, that is here head office has to register as input service distributor. We are talking about whether he has to register or not to be registered. As an input service distributor, I have to register. Then after registering as an input service distributor, I'm going to that is I'm going to distribute my credit to various branches according to the proportion basis. Okay, it should be distributed in proportion basis based on the turnover. Suppose if I'm distributing it to the particular services, நம்ம இது ஐடிசியில் பார்ப்போம் இதை, அதனால தான் இந்த ஹெட்டிங் லைட்டா கொஞ்சம் ஸ்டாப் பண்ணேன். ஓகே, ஒன்லி ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் டாபிக் மட்டும் தான் இங்க கவர் பண்ணிக்கிறோம். ஐடிசி அப்போ ஐடிசி ஒன்னும் கொஞ்சம் டெப்தா பார்ப்போம். ஓகே, if I'm supplying only, there is Yuvamurthy doing audit only Kerala and Tanjavur, then that input services can be distributed only to Tanjavur and this particular places, that Kerala. I cannot distribute to Mumbai, Kolkata, etc., because he is not doing audit over there. Okay, so such inputs cannot be distributed over there. Okay, number 2, if I am doing a statutory audit for overall audit, okay, I am giving an invoice to the head office. In such cases, that input services, okay, such input services can be distributed to each and every branches, okay, in proportion to such turnover, and such turnover shall be, it should be distributed to each and every branches where it has been multiple registration overall various states, so it will be distributed accordingly. So here, this is the scenario which is subject to input service distribution.